And it's astounding to watch Bitcoin play out his kind of playbook almost to the letter 50 years before, 40 years before the internet. So that's what's happening. But in between, the government adjusts the liquidity of money, right? So as inflation started rising, the government tried to take liquidity or money out of circulation, right? By basically, selling assets on its balance sheet. During COVID, it was buying assets onto its balance sheet, which had the wonderful effect of lowering interest rates. So anyway, so this has the effect that risky assets will go up and down in value based in the short term based upon these changes of liquidity. Neither of us would argue that one of the most important public investable technologies right now is AI, and AI stocks got hammered in the past few days, right? Does that mean that AI is now worthless? No. If you look at the same log chart that I was talking about, I would posit over the last few years, in the next 10 years, it's going to look like, I predict, a straight line up and to the right with a lot of noise in the middle. The noise tends to be more micro-driven. What is the government doing? What is the Federal Reserve doing? What are bond markets doing? The average person doesn't understand those things, so they look at the news as the next best thing to try to interpret what's really going on. But, outside of a president getting shot or going to war, like really big macro shocks, the daily news is not the biggest driver of these micro movements up and down. It's things that the average Joe public investor doesn't understand, right? Which is why I always say your time horizon should be as close to forever as you can make it. Because historically, by the way, I don't know if you know this, people think Warren Buffett is the best investor in history. He's not. In my list, he's number 3. Number 2 is politicians, where illegal insider trading for us is legal for them. And number 1 is dead people who actually, their families don't know that their investment accounts are still open, find the investment accounts 20 years later, and they're up and to the right because they can't screw with them.
That's so funny.
Right. So that's my point, right? Is like, if you have the right time horizon, the noise dissipates.
You're your own worst enemy. Yeah. And so it's really returning to the fundamentals of what Bitcoin is and believing in it and ignoring the news and ignoring what's going on.